friends, good morning. My name is Christine and welcome to today's video and another episode of Vlogust. If you guys want to check out the full playlist, I will leave it down below of every single video this month in August 2020. Now today, Dave and the kids are out biking and I am alone in the house for what feels like the first time in about 5 months. I wanted to do a little bit of meal prep today for my family for like snacks and breakfasts mostly. First of all, I think we've covered the fact that I'm lazy. Okay. At this stage of my life, I don't get up and make my kids breakfast for the first thing that I do anymore. I'm typically like working out or I'm taking a shower right after working out, and my kids are bigger. My youngest kid is 8.5 and they go up from there, and if there's things that are readily available, they can kind of get their own stuff. So I do like to have a variety of breakfast options that are basically like grab, heat up and go. What I'm going to prep today is basically a whole bunch of that. I make my own granola and I'm really, really low, and I still have this like 100 pounds of oats mocking me in the corner of my pantry like every single day. So I thought I would make another batch of my homemade granola. Of course, I will have the recipe down below for you. It's so delicious. And this was like misunderstood the last time I said this. Okay, so I said it was my sister-in-law's mother-in-law's recipe. And people thought that was like my mom or my mother-in-law, but it isn't. It's Dave's sister's husband's mother. Okay, so no relation to me whatsoever at all. I do know her. We have met several times. She actually doesn't live that far from me, like 15 minutes away from me. So I do see her. I think we're just gonna speed it up. I'm gonna voice over this whole next section as I mix up the granola, get it going in the oven, and then we'll work on step 2. Alexa, shuffle songs from 5 Seconds of Summer. What song is yours playing? Is that little Alexa trick ever gonna get old to me? I don't think so. I just think it's so funny when you guys tell me in the comments like which song your Echo is playing as well. And then I just feel like we're buddies, like we're closer, you know? So don't worry, I will put all of the recipes down below for you. I think I already said that in the video, but I can't remember. I feel like the older I get, the less I can remember. I don't know if you guys are like that as well. So I have a thought about this granola. So I had an original granola recipe that I used from some old like penny pincher book or something like that. And it was really good. It didn't use oil. It used apple juice as one of the sweeteners, and it had dried milk powder, and it was really good. It was super, super crunchy. Then when I tried this recipe from my sister-in-law, Dave's sister, she was like, oh, my mother-in-law gave me this recipe. It's so delicious. And I tried it and it was just really like rich and flavorful with the coconut and the honey and the oil. I typically use coconut oil, but I am out right now, so that's definitely gonna have to go on my list for like Sam's Club, or if I don't go to a bulk store until I go to Costco when they open in my area. I have been using this recipe for many, many years now. It is so delicious, but since I'm doing Vlogust with Jen Chapin, and she says her granola recipe is the best one, do I do a granola battle, and like see which is better? I'm not sure. So while the granola is baking back behind in the background of this shot, I decided to mix up some coconut pancakes. For some reason, I just had a lot of coconut stuff in the house. Shredded coconut, coconut flour, coconut milk. I love coconut if you guys are new around here, and pancakes is a really, really easy make ahead. You can freeze them if you want to make a lot or you don't have that many kids or something, and you just pull them out individually to cook. I have a lot of kids, and so I have to make a ton of pancakes to get to the point where I don't have to just stick them in the fridge, because even though I think I doubled or tripled this batch, I can't remember. This is like one breakfast for my kids. So I ended up making this, and we had it for breakfast the following morning, and then it was gone. I don't know, to freeze them, I would just have to make so many. I'd have to at least quadruple it, if not more than that. And at that point, I feel like I need another griddle, because even just the one griddle, I can only make 6 pancakes on a griddle. You know, that's only 1 per kid. So I've like turned into appliance central at my house. So listen, if you have not made pancakes with butter, like just straight up butter on your griddle, like give it a go. It takes your pancakes to a whole nother level. I am not a huge pancake lover. Like, I prefer waffles because they're crispy, and I really like crunchy foods. But if you're gonna give me a pancake, there was years and years I just wouldn't eat them because I'm like, nah, but they're just not that good to me. But if you cook them in butter, ooh, buddy, it gives them this little bit of like salty, crunchy on the outside. They're so rich. They're good with butter. So I would highly recommend that. And of course, I went through and just like cooked all of the pancakes. I did taste them. They were pretty good. I found this particular recipe, and I'll leave it down below for you, is didn't have as much coconut flavor as I was looking for. I was looking for like this like punch of coconut, and it had it in there, but not, I don't know. I just thought it would be more than that. So I think I'm still on the hunt for a coconut pancake recipe. So if you guys have one that's super, super good, leave a link or something down in the comments so I can try it out. You know, I actually like this little pancake trick. I think when school starts, if my kids do end up going to school and staying at school, that I will be probably making a lot of breakfast items on the weekends just to make breakfast mornings a lot easier on a traditional school day. Before I make my next item, I noticed that my flour level is very, very low, and that's going to cause a problem because I'm making muffins. There seems to be a misconception I would like to clear up. A lot of people tell me in the comments that I need to be using like 5-gallon food grade buckets to store my bulk items. You think I don't? You think I don't already have about 20 of these? You would be mistaken. So this is my flour bucket. It's sitting at about right here. And so I use these to refill the ones that are in my kitchen. So my kitchen ones are like smaller and easy access. And then my big ones I keep like downstairs or in the garage. After I refill this, I'm gonna have to put flour on my list because I'm like really low on flour. This is like the last of the flour I have. Ooh. Ah! And I like doing this because it makes a mess in your kitchen, so that's fun. Yeah, so that is now empty. Bulk flour is now on my shopping list. I've refilled my flour container, and now I can make my muffins. This is a recipe I got a really, really long time ago. It's whole grain blackberry spice muffins. They're really good, but I don't have blackberries. You're supposed to add frozen blackberries. I don't have those, but I do have frozen strawberries. So we're gonna try and do them with strawberries and not blackberries. So this recipe, as it's written, makes 1 dozen, which is the recipe I will leave with you, and that is like so not enough for me. So I think I'm going to triple it and make 3 dozen instead, because you can freeze muffins, you can stick them in the fridge, the kids can eat them for breakfast. I washed my huge mixing bowl. I get asked sometimes where I get this. So this is a 13-gallon mixing bowl. I got it at Sam's Club. It is less than $10. It's one of the best purchases I've ever made to do like really big mixing stuff. So we're gonna mix all of this up. Alexa, play the Hairspray soundtrack. I cannot be the only one who just plays music really loud in their kitchen when they're working. Like, am I the only one who does that? I go through so many different types of musical soundtracks, movie soundtracks, like some of my favorite bands. I'll just shuffle my favorite bands or favorite albums or anything like that. So if you're one of those people who also likes to rock out to music and sing at the top of your lungs where no one can hear you and judge how bad your singing voice is, give this video a like, and then tell me down in the comments what your favorite music to listen to is. Although I know some people, like my friend Jen, she likes to like either watch YouTube or listen to podcasts. I'll do that as well, but my go-to is definitely music. So I'm trying to remember where I found this recipe, and I think it was a magazine, maybe back in 2008 or something. I can't even remember what magazine it was from. But I was like, oh, oatmeal spice, blackberry, excellent. And so I did used to make it with blackberries, because when I lived in Texas, blackberries grow really well down there, and you can like go do a pick and pay kind of a thing. So I'd always go and pick them, and they weren't too expensive, and then I'd freeze them and make these muffins, and that was always a huge hit in my house. There's just something about like the spice and the oatmeal and like the tart sweet of the berry is really, really yummy. This is my first time actually making them with strawberries. Even Ryan, who doesn't particularly like chunky, like he's weird with his textures. He has a texture issue with his food. He doesn't like granola bars or oatmeal really, or chunks of things in his food. He loved these muffins. He just like kept coming into the kitchen and grabbing one as a snack over and over. Like he had so many for a snack that it probably turned into a meal, a muffin meal. But they turned out really, really good. I did end up with just a touch more than 3 dozen. Although when you see me mix these up, since I'm using my muffin or my jumbo muffin tins, each one is the equivalent of 2, okay? So even though you only see 12 right here, it's the equivalent of 24 normal ones. If you guys are not making these like jumbo muffins, you need to go buy these and give them a try. I find them easier to clean, even when I use the little muffin liners, like, you know, the cupcake liners. I just love these jumbo muffins. It feels like you're eating in a bakery, and it just makes me feel so, I don't know, is it bougie to like feel like you're eating bakery muffins when you made them yourself and they're cheaper? I don't know. I think muffins is one of those things. It's such a great make ahead. Once again, you can also freeze these, and there's so many different flavors you could do. But banana muffins, my whole wheat brown sugar muffins are really, really delicious. And of course, I totally recommend giving these a try as well. Here's something actually you guys can help me with. I have been on the hunt for the perfect blueberry muffin for what feels like years now, and I cannot find one. I want to find a blueberry muffin that's really, really tasty on its own and doesn't need the streusel topping to taste good. So if you have a good recipe, leave it down below. Thanks. We're moving on to our last bread item for today, and this is going to be pumpkin bread, because I have like all these cans of canned pumpkin in my pantry and downstairs, and what are they doing here? Why do I have so many? I don't need that many pumpkin pies. Or do I need that many pumpkin pies? But I have this pumpkin bread recipe. I think I've done it on the channel before. I may even have a fully dedicated video on it, so if I do, I'll leave it below as well. But this recipe is from my mom. She used to bake them in mason jars, like wide mouth mason jars. And so when we would pop them out, they'd be in circles. So I remember eating like circle slices of pumpkin bread. Now I'm not gonna bake them in mason jars. I'm just gonna do my long skinny bread pans. These are from IKEA, but I will leave some links down below. You can pick up on Amazon as well. They hold the same amount as a regular loaf pan. I get asked that sometimes, even though they look bigger, it's just like longer and skinnier. I find it cooks more evenly, so I prefer these, but the other ones will also work. I think this recipe makes 2 loaves. So I have my Bosch out here. You don't need a mixer of any kind, but I like this just because it does large quantities. So in here, I have 2/3 of a cup of shortening, to which I will add a buttload of sugar. This is not a diet bread, okay? It's a delicious bread. 2 2/3 cup of sugar. 1, 2, yikes. 2, okay, 2 2/3 cup of sugar. Woo, okay. Now cream this together just like you're making cookies. 4 eggs. Mix again. 2 cups of pumpkin. This is just your standard canned pumpkin. If you make it yourself, that is even better. I planted pumpkins in my garden, but I think I only have 1 actual pumpkin right now, which is very sad. However, my spaghetti squash are going nuts. And 2/3 cup of water. Mix one more time. 3 1/3 cup of flour. 1, 2, 3, third. I feel like there's a lot of thirds in this recipe, like 2/3, 1/3. 2 teaspoons of baking soda. 1.5 teaspoons of salt. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm gonna do a heaping teaspoon. Okay, it says ground cloves. I don't know that I have any ground cloves anymore. I have whole cloves, but not ground cloves. So instead, I'm gonna add a little bit of nutmeg and then put cloves on my list. Lastly, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Now you can add nuts to this, but Ryan doesn't particularly enjoy nuts, so I'm gonna leave him out. And I know I use nuts in the granola, but he doesn't eat that. And like, boom, that's it. It's so fast. You could also make muffins out of these, because it's just your standard quick bread batter, so you could do muffins as well. But I already did muffins today. Yeah, I would say definitely just your standard 2 loaves. And these are gonna go in a 350-degree oven for 45 minutes to an hour, kind of depending on your oven, just until it's cooked. I think we're there. I have all of my granola that I ended up making, and that full batch only covers about half of one of these animal cracker containers. So if I were to fill that up to the top, I'd have to double it. This recipe does last my family for several weeks. I'd say 3, maybe a month, depending on who's eating granola or not. Like I said, Ryan doesn't really ever eat this. All of the strawberry spice muffins, the pancakes are in this Tupperware container ready to go for tomorrow's breakfast. And I have 2 loaves of my pumpkin bread, which is very, very hot right now. So I'm gonna let it sit for 10 minutes before I cut into it. Once again, tools I used and all the recipes will be down below in the box for you. Thanks for hanging out with me today. My kitchen smells amazing. Tell me if you guys tried these recipes, which one's your favorite, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.